Well, let's talk a bit about the process of adding device support. The very
Okay.
first thing I want to get into is
Yeah.
device connectivity.
hmm
What methods are used to connect to a device?
Okay. 98% of the time right now. Oh, there
Oh,
went my foot. Oh, the fun of VR. Okay, so 98% of the time, the connectivity is Bluetooth LE. And that
mhm.
is because 98% of the time it is assumed these devices will be connected to a smartphone. And that is the only way you can easily connect to a smartphone. And a lot of people are going to be like, but what about Wi Fi? Networks are complicated.
Mhm,
Networks
mhm,
are
mhm,
extremely complicated, especially when you add a device to a network you don't own.
mhm.
So trying to make sure that your device and your phone are on the same subnet, are going to be able to see each other, and don't even bring MDNS into this conversation. So Bluetooth is just the easiest for like sort of peer to peer,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
just a one to one, like phone talks to hardware.
Right.
And device manufacturers consider that what like that's mostly what it's going to be.
Mhm.
Now there are devices that talk HID or wired USB or wired serial. Most like serials mostly either older devices or DIY stuff.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that's mostly like, and that is flung over USB. Like I have some devices that have DB9 connectors on them. They are no longer produced. Um, but yeah, and so there's that kind of interconnect. And that's but mostly it's just Bluetooth these days. It's rare, like for every 500 Bluetooth device users, we'll get someone in that's doing serial with for the OSR2 or SR6 or something like that.
I'm looking
um
at the
so
list right now, and some of them are saying
yeah.
audio. What is that supposed to mean?
Okay, so that means that they have little microphones on them,
Okay.
that might just pick up audio or something.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, okay. Right.
Reverse engineering devices. So most devices are Bluetooth. How do we actually talk to them? How do we reverse engineer them? Most of the time, we just crack open their Android app and look. You like it's fair use decompilation for interconnectivity, so
Mhm.
and interoperability. We're not interested in cracking anyone's encryption or taking anyone's services down. We just want the protocol, and then we're done. Um,
Regarding the protocols,
Otherwise, though, there
anyone's
have been times.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say regarding the protocols, are the ones doing anything kind of weird with it? Where it's like I don't like what engineer, what psychopath decided to write the protocol like this?
Oh, that's the norm. It
Okay, right.
is very, very rare that we will find someone that's like, oh, that makes sense. Levin's toys are kind of okay. They just talk in strings. Like you want a Levin's toy to vibrate? You say vibrate colon and a number between 0 and 20 semicolon, and you send it over and you're vibrating. That's it. That's
Fair.
fine. It's just good enough. Um but no, there's been some ones where it's just like, here's a random string of bytes. It's not actually like encrypted in any way, though we have actually found like AES encryption and stuff on some devices. Um, and we're not sure why. It's like, what did you think you were gonna do
Are they
with
like?
this?
I would
Like,
understand that for like if it's like web connected and you're like connecting with a partner. I guess that would make sense. But like other than that,
yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know. Oh, I mean, people are worried about like some manufacturers worry about other manufacturers like taking over
oh,
like how there's recurring revenue streams that they're trying to protect.
sure. Okay, that's fair.
Um but Yeah, so mostly we just crack I mean and but there's other times where it's like the manufacturer will just go, here's the spec, have fun. We love those
Wow.
manufacturers. Like, yeah, no, like there are people that are cool with like what we do, and like because that's the thing is we present manufacturers with a free ecosystem. If they just want to make a toy and it's supported by us, suddenly they have all of these video players, all of
Right.
these games, they just work with, and
Right.
that's great for them. It's just not everyone really understands that. We haven't really had any legal trouble or anything with anyone. Like, we try to stay out of that. Try not to, like, I don't want to get too deep into like the patent law fun that is the sex toy and computer controlled sex toy industry. It's kind of a nightmare. I mean, for one of the reasons that innovation was so stifled was that there was a teledildonics patent in 1997 that we literally had to wait for it to go up in 2018 for people to not have to license. And they were very nasty about the licensing. There was a huge lawsuit in 2015 that took multiple companies with it because Patent Troll got a hold of the patent right before it went up and started just suing the shit out of everyone. Sucked.
What did that patent cover? Like, what was it
literally
doing?
Vibrators that could be controlled by a computer and controlled through the internet.
I guess that makes sense why there's been such an influx of them in the past couple of years then.
Wildly, yeah. And now there's a patent on cam tipping. So if you are watching a cam model through a site like Fansly or Chatterbait or something like that, and there's an option to run their toy based on giving them money, that is a patented procedure. So there is only one company that is now licensing it out, but that is patented. Yes. So yeah, that's why we avoid cam tipping. It's like the adult industry has always been wildly litigious. It's something we try to stay out of because it's also very expensive. But we still kind of do what we can, though. Yeah.
Okay, so when we're looking at supporting a device, let's say we'll start with something that doesn't have their own ecosystem. Let's say it's just some like random, I don't know, $20 device, $50 device off of Amazon. No, some random Chinese manufacturer, no idea what it is. What would you even begin with doing to deal with that?
So we Actually have this happen about once a week on our Discord now. There's a new-ish Chinese manufacturer called JoyHub that is putting out tens of devices like a month. Our poor device dev can barely keep up with them. And so we'll just get some person come in and it's like, yeah, I bought this JoyHub random name string of numbers. And we're like, what the is that? And so we talk to them about like, okay, like we'll ask them to go get a smartphone application, something like there's smartphone Bluetooth analyzers like NRF Connect, where it just allows you to see like what Bluetooth devices are advertising and you can send them packets and stuff. It's kind of nice. So we'll have them use that to pull some data from the device and then we'll try to source it ourselves. We'll try to actually get the device ourselves, figure out what app it uses and go from there. So this is why we do crowdfunding and like have Patreons and affiliate sales and stuff, because it's like just trying to like keep up with that is quite the expense. But yeah, like usually most times we can actually work with most devices that we get. There's only been a few where it's been like, okay, that's encrypted in a weird way, and the manufacturer's been like, there's been a couple of times where it's like the manufacturer's been weird toward us, and it's just like, I just don't. It's just you stay over there. Yeah. But yeah, most times it comes together, and either the manufacturer is happy or they just don't even contact us. They don't even know we exist. And like, oh, whatever. Because our major problem is a lot of our users want the cheapest thing possible.
Sure.
So like I would say the category king here, like the Google of sex toys is Lovense at this point. A lot of people don't really say like, I have a computer controlled sex toy. I have a teledildonics device. They say I have a Lovense.
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of like,
and
it's that generic term now. It's
yeah,
so
it is.
big where,
Yeah.
there's places in the
There
US where they call like cola Coke, right? Because it's
Coke. Yeah. Or yeah. So that's but Lovin's devices like start at $80 on the cheap side. And a lot of people can't afford that. So they're like, what can I get for $15? And that's kind of where a lot of our new stuff comes in now is it's just like, okay, well, someone found this thing for $10 and apparently it's going to work. Once to rabbit hole for like the 97th time on this conversation. One thing that we don't support that's actually pretty interesting, there's this set of devices that are under the brand Lovence or sorry, not Lovence. We definitely support Lovence. Edit that out. Edit that out. Okay. There is a set of devices known as Love Spouse. Love Spouse or Muse. These are Bluetooth devices, but they are very weird in that they, instead of acting as what we call a Bluetooth peripheral, they act as a central. So usually your computer is the central. And when you want to like find a Bluetooth device, you turn your device on and it starts screaming, "Hey, I'm a Bluetooth device." And your computer finds it and you connect to it. This swaps that around where it acts as a thing that listens for advertisements and it expects your phone or computer to spew advertisements at it that set the vibration speed. So a few months ago, there was a Flipper Zero release that would allow you to control as many of these toys as you want because there's no connection mechanism. As long as you're throwing advertisements, the toy will react. And the problem is these toys are hyper cheap. You can get them for $10 to $20 on AliExpress. Right. So we've just seen this huge flood of them. And we refuse to support them because, well, first off, advertisements that'd require us to implement a whole new Bluetooth peripheral side library with all of the cross-platform and stuff. And I don't want to. But also, it's just wildly insecure. It's just like, I mean, anyone can walk by you.
You have AES on one side, and then literally just responds to anything that sends a packet to it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not good. It's not good. Yeah.
It could be easy to support if you wanted to, but like...
we keep having people go like, here's the sample code. Here's exactly how you do it. And I'm just like, I don't want to. Like, our library and our protocol expect a connection mechanism because when a client disconnects, we want to know that we can send a stop to the device and everything else. This kind of works outside of that mechanism in ways that these are not particularly, once again, like aggressive toys. These aren't machines or anything else. They're just little vibrators. But even so, that loss of connection context is just, it's freaky.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right, is it because if it like lost access to the device and it was stuck at whatever?
And we don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah, it'll just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand the concern there. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so when we're talking about our premier toys, when we're talking about like Lovence, when we're talking about when we have devices that are of similar capabilities, so we're talking about something that vibrates. Do the different devices in their like device range behave in a similar way with how you would control them, or is there just like some wild difference between them for seemingly no reason for the same function?
Is this within brand or
within
different bands? Okay, within brand, it's usually the same. So Lovence has been pretty good about that. I mean, Lovence has actually been kind of wild about that. They actually put out a full-on machine, and it reacted to vibrate commands. It's like, that's not I guess that's incredibly low frequency like long like push vibration or something. I don't know. But most of their commands look the same. There are other brands. Once again, Joy Hub, Magic Motion. I think we have like 7 different implementations of their different protocols. Kiru's had like 5 different protocols. Like, so some of them are fine, some of them are easy, some of them are okay. Well, same brand, but we're gonna have to redo it all over again. So Lovin's hasn't been too bad though. Kiru is kind of settled. Yeah.
So it's sort of a matter of, well, very much depends on the company. And I guess it makes sense for Lovense, right? Because they are such a big company, they can, they can afford to actually engineer stuff properly.
Well, and Lovense is one of the few companies that also actually puts out their own SDKs. So they have multiple ways to program for their toys. If you don't want to use butt plugin, you just want to like access Lovense toys, they have libraries for it. And not only that, that actually happens quite often because they will all, like if you are a software developer and you use their libraries, they will advertise for you on their various forums and whatnot. So there is a bit of symbiosis there. That I mean, with Buttplug, you get our community and whatnot too. So
well, I
there's
guess even if they did things weirdly, because they have the SDK, like it would still be pretty easy to write connectivity for it, assuming they're not doing anything weird encryption stuff.
No, it's all strings. It's all strings flying over what basically looks like a UART. It's they're super simple. And most other companies just don't put out SDKs. Like just straight like Lalo tried for one of their toys. It was actually a very nicely structured and documented SDK, but the toy was crap. So no one ever used it. So this is, I mean, this is kind of why Lovense has the brand recognition that they do, because they know that they need to talk to developers. They know that they need to integrate with games and applications and whatnot, while everyone else is just like, okay, we're just going to support video sync on these porn sites, and that's it. That's our recurring revenue. The end.
Right.
And we feel like there's a middle ground there between like the companies that won't like talk to anyone, Lovense, and because people want different toys than Lovense puts out, but those companies aren't willing to do anything. So we are the middle ground. Yeah.